アマテラス。まあ要するに何が何でもこの場で倒す必要があるヤバい野郎ってことさ。
Not that long ago, if you said the best rank 4 deck of all time was Bujin's, people would look at you the way everybody looks at S-Force players to think it's better than Live Twins. Not only does this deck put up the best rank 4s you can imagine, it's also doing so in a way that the opponent may not be able to interrupt.
The glazing is crazy.
Alright bro, fine, I'll prove it. In order to understand how the Bujins work, first we gotta know that there are 3 different kinds of Bujins. The easiest way to split them up is the Beast Warrior Bujins and the Beast Bujingis. The Beast type Bujingis are a bunch of animals that have a variety of supportive effects. Some of them protect your Beast Warriors from danger, some of them remove the opponent's card, some of them imbue your Beast Warriors with other kinds of effects to make them formidable. You can kind of see the Bujingis as armor and weapons that the Beast Warrior Bujins get to take advantage of. The Beast Warrior Bujins themselves don't just sit there and do nothing like the Tenyu links do though. They all have effects that one way or another let you gain access to your Beast type Bujingis. There are 3 cards this deck takes advantage of in order to get our Bujingis in the graveyard so we can benefit from their effects, and these are Torafune, Mahitotsu, and Susanoo. For consistency, I also just want to mention real quick here that since our playmakers are Beast Warriors, we can take advantage of Tenki to search for them, but since this deck also plays Beasts, we won't be able to take advantage of the Tenki skill. Torafune tributes itself to summon 2 Bujins from your deck that have different types, meaning that you'd be summoning 1 Beast Warrior and 1 Beast. The newly summoned monsters can easily be used for rank 4 XC summons of any of the rank 4 Bujins, and the Bujingi beast can be detached to immediately give that protection effect. With this one card, we get access to whatever Bujingi we need at that time for our protection, while also setting up our Xyz play. If you want to prevent this effect, you could use Effect Veiler or Forbidden Chalice while it's on the field, as the fact that the effect activates on the field means that it will be negated regardless of when it resolves. However, the weakness of that is that you would need to do it while the Torafune is still in the field. Once we have our Torafune negated, we could just keep it on the field so that we can extend our plays with Mahitotsu. Mahitotsu can discard a Bujin card to special summon itself. That's a pretty solid summoning condition for himself, since he may discard a Bujingi you have in hand, and the fact that we have this card available to us as an extender, as I just outlined, is a cool way to play through certain interruptions. You might even summon Mahitotsu before summoning anything else by discarding a protective Buji from your hand. That way the rest of your combo is a bit safer. Mahitotsu is more than just an extender though. While he's on the field, he has 2 effects and you can only use one of them per turn. The first is you can discard any Bujin monster to add a Bujin from grave back to hand, and the other effect is that you can banish a Bujin monster from your grave to send any other Bujin from deck to grave. So you could potentially banish the Torafune after it tribute itself to send whatever protective Bujin you need from deck to grave. Getting access to pretty much whatever you need to protect your game plan means that even if we don't open this, we would summon this from the deck with Torafune to get its effects off regardless. If you open up with just a Torafune, you could summon it and let it tribute itself to summon Mahitotsu and the Bujingi of your choice from the deck, and with the Torafune in grave you could use Mahitotsu to banish that Torafune to send a piece of protection from deck to grave, to let the rest of your plays move forward smoothly. If you open up with just a Mahitotsu and some Bujins to discard, you could summon it first and normal summon another Bujin. This isn't going to be as strong as having Torafune, but it is an available play if you don't have Torafune, and you'll still be able to banish one from grave to get you the exact protection you need. That's why it's even better to start off with both Mahitotsu and Torafune, since the Mahitotsu can set up protection or bait out interruptions for you before you summon Torafune so that the Torafune can activate successfully. You can begin to see that just with these 2 cards, this deck can pretty simply set up whatever Xyz plays they want to go for. Bujin have a variety of Xyz plays they can go for, and don't worry, we are definitely going to get into that, but Bujintei Susanoo is important to mention alongside Torafune and Mahitotsu. It attaches a material to either search for a Bujin or send a Bujin from deck to grave, being able to send whatever protective Bujingi you need to the grave just like Mahitotsu. This alongside Mahitotsu lets you set up multiple layers of protection, but even further than that, the fact that it can search for Bujins means that if you haven't normal summoned yet, you could search for Torafune, and if you haven't used one of your extenders yet, you could potentially search for one of those if the situation came up for it. Sometimes we might have just as much protection in the grave as we need, or perhaps we might need extension more than we need protection, and in those cases the Susanoo can search for Mahitotsu if we haven't used them already, or you could search for Hirume, Arasuda, or Hiroko. Hirume banishes a Bujin from the grave to special summon herself. Arasuda triggers to special summon himself whenever a Bujin is banished from the field or grave, like for Hirume's summoning effect, or any of the other self-banishing that goes on in this deck. deck. The ability to search for Harume or Arasuda, or both, is something that you should think of very often, as the conditions for summoning them will require certain situations, but the benefits they can provide of being able to continue your plays further means that even better than protecting your plays from interruptions, you may be able to play through those interruptions instead. Haruko, on the other hand, is not an extender that you would need to think twice about searching or not searching. Haruko is a pendulum monster, and as a pendulum scale, it has the effect to banish itself from the field to turn one of your Bujin Xyz monsters into a different Bujin Xyz monster using the first as material. The first things first, yes, Haruko banishing itself will let you special summon Arasuda from the hand, but then what is Haruko going to be summoning? After you get your use out of Susanoo, you search for Haruko if you don't have it already, then you activate it and banish it to turn Susanoo into Amaterasu. Amaterasu's quick effect changes based on whose turn it is. On your turn, it attaches a material to special summon a banished level 4 or lower monster, like the Haruko you just banished, and that could help you get your extra deck plays going even further. On your opponent's turn, it attaches a material to add a banished level 4 or lower monster back to your hand, like the Torafune that Mahitotsu likely banished earlier in the game, so that you have a guaranteed follow-up play from that Torafune. Amaterasu doesn't act as a way to interrupt the opponent at all, however, the fact that it provides an extension play by getting out another level 4 to be used for more plays, the fact that it adds back cards to be used for your follow-up turn, and the fact that it itself is a Bujin Beast Warrior to be protected by your Bujingi will mean that this is going to be what enables you to interrupt the opponent and to survive, even if he himself isn't the one doing the interrupting, and even if he himself is only being protected by other cards. With the amount of extension this deck has, with the Amaterasu included, it is going to be pretty likely that we have another level 4 alongside the one that Amaterasu summoned, so that we can go into more interruptive or protective Xyz. We could even summon a second copy of Susanoo to give us access to even more Bujingis to make our board even more difficult to break through, since Susanoo is only a soft once per turn. Our Bujins don't just have to be protected by our Bujingis though, we could also go into Bujintei Kagutsuchi, who has his own way to protect himself and others. On summon, he mills 5 cards from your deck and he gains 100 attack for each Bujin card that you milled. It's cool that it gives you some random graveyard setup, but if you are looking for graveyard setup, then it would be better to go into Susanoo, so you can guarantee you'll get exactly what you need. So you can count Kagutsuchi's mill and attack buff effect as just an added bit of spice, on top of the fact that if one of your Bujin Beast Warriors would be destroyed by battle or card effect, then he can attach a material to prevent that destruction. It's a pretty big deal that it can protect from both battle and effect destruction, as normally when something can't be destroyed by card effects, it can at least be destroyed by battle, and this guy doesn't have that type of a loophole. If the opponent has an effect that destroys more than one card like Dark Hole, then he can only protect one of your Bujins, but it's still helpful that he can do that at all. With the cards we've talked about so far, we could summon Mahitotsu by discarding a Bujin, banish that Bujin to give us whatever protective Bujingi we feel we need most, and then we can summon Torafune to summon himself, to summon a couple more Bujins from the deck, including another protective Bujingi. Using that protective Bujingi and one of our other Bujins, we can go into Susanoo, which can detach that protective Bujingi, so that at this point we will have 2 protective Bujingis in the grave, and then we can search for Haruko, which will activate and banish itself to turn that Susanoo into Amaterasu. Amaterasu can detach a material to bring back the Haruko or any of our other protective Bujingis that we may have already used. So with our 2 remaining level 4s on field, we can go into whatever rank 4 we feel is best for the situation. And that could be Kagutsuchi for destruction protection, and it could be another Susanoo to give us whatever other form of protection we want. It could be an Abyss Dweller to turn off the opponent's graveyard strategies, or it could be some other powerful rank 4 interruption that you'd want to play. Even if our hand wasn't so good as to give us everything we needed to get the right amount of monsters on the field, our other extenders may have also helped us to get to the same end board. All of this though, all of it can actually be enhanced very, very easily if we just have a bonus level 4 in our hand. The link to Ahashima on Special Summon special summons a monster from our hand and a monster from our grave that has the same level, and then immediately Xyz summons with them. If you have the materials to get your plays going with a rank 4, but you also happen to have a level 4 in your hand, then you can go into Ahashima instead of the rank 4. Ahashima can easily resummon one of its own materials and that level 4 from your hand to go right into that Xyz right away. You'll have the exact same board, but with this link monster on it as well. But why would you do that?
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
Well, of course, you'll have another monster on the board. If you can achieve the exact same board but with a bonus monster on it, then why wouldn't you do it? Some might say that having a bonus monster on the board isn't inherently a good thing unless that monster is actually contributing anything to the board. Let's say you have 2 of your Bujins on the board. One of them is a beast type Bujingi that can be used to protect your plays if you can get it into the grave. If you use them to go right into your Xyz, then your opponent is going to be given an opportunity right away to deal with your Xyz before you have a chance to protect it, since your protective Bujingi will be be stuck under it as one of its materials. If you instead use both of those monsters to go right into Ahashima, the fact that it is a link monster means that its materials are going directly to the grave, and you'll still be able to get the 2 materials on board for the Xyz play anyway, as long as you have the level 4 in hand, and the whole process will be protected since your protective Bujinki will be engraved way earlier than waiting until you can detach a material from your Xyz. Ahashima making your play safer isn't even all that it does though. It also has a trigger effect if an Xyz monster that it points to activates its effect by detaching material. If you detach a material from your Xyz that the Ahashima points to, then Ahashima can target a back row the opponent controls and destroy it, wrecking the opponent's board even further to let the rest of our plays go through more smoothly. But also, since it's a trigger effect, if we put a Beast Dweller or a Matarasu in the zone that it points to, we could also destroy opponent's back row on their turn by detaching a material whenever we like. It's not the most amazing thing in the world, but it certainly comes up, especially against back row decks. I've told you everything that you need to know about how to get your Bujingis in order to give you the protective effects that they give you, but I haven't actually told you anything about how the Bujingis actually protect you. I didn't want the first whole bit of the video to just be listing a bunch of effects. I believe it's better to teach you the game plan itself. I like to break the Bujingis down into 3 categories. The first is protection, the second is removal, and the third is battle related. First up, let's talk about Hare and Turtle, the protective Bujingis. Turtle banishes itself from the grave to negate an effect that targets one of your Bujins, and Hare banishes itself from the grave to protect one of your Bujins from battle or effect destruction one time. These are primarily the ones you're going to be focusing on getting into the grave with your combos. If you can get more than just these 2 into the grave, that's great, but really these should be the priority because the vast majority of what the opponent is going to be trying to do to you either involves targeting them or destroying them, and having these to prevent that is super important. And these are the ones you'll be aiming to get back from the banish pile most of the time with a Matarasu if possible. Sometimes protecting yourself isn't what you need though. Sometimes you need to straight up get rid of something, and that's what Qilin and Centipede are for. Qilin destroys a monster if you control a Bujin, and Centipede destroys a back row if you control a Bujin. Unlike Hare and Turtle though, these are not quick effects, so these are just going to be on your own main phase when you're trying to break the opponent's board, but having them available is very important. What's also important to know is that when you use Qilin to destroy a monster, you can say you're killing the monster.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
There are situations where destroying their monsters in back row or protecting yourself from targeting or destroying may be able to get some things done, but it won't be enough. At the end of the day, we need to be able to reduce our opponent's life points to 0, and we need to be able to prevent our opponents from reducing our life points to 0. So it's important to play Crane, Sinew, and Fox. Crane is the only Bujin we are playing that activates in our hand, and it's a battle trap that doubles your Bujin's attack during damage calculation when you battle a monster until the end of that battle. It's nearly impossible for an opponent to win a battle while you have Crane in your hand, and the fact that it doubles your own attack can mean that you might get enough battle damage in to straight up win the game because of it. Sinew is similar to Crane, except that it's in the grave, and instead of doubling your Bujin's attack, it makes your Bujin gain the opponent's monster's attack, but then your opponent only takes half battle damage that turn. But the fact that it's a grave effect means that we can more easily get the benefits of it using our engine. If we don't have any Bujins though, Crane and Sinew won't protect us from battle damage, but thankfully we have a Bujin card that doesn't require us to actually control anything. Fox's quick effect can banish itself from the grave and discard a Bujin monster so that you take absolutely no damage during that turn. So if you think you won't be able to survive the opponent's onslaught, you can send this to the grave to guarantee that you will get a follow-up play. Technically, you don't have to play this if you don't want to, however, there are certain situations where it can be helpful. Like against Duel, you can use it even if it's your own turn, so you take no burn damage when you attack into their monsters, or if they use their monsters to attack into you. There's also a couple Bujingis that while I don't think you should play them, you should consider them for your side deck depending on the format. These are Swallow and Ophidian. Swallow can discard itself to let one of your Bujins attack twice that turn, and Ophidian can discard itself to let one of your Bujins attack directly. So you could use both of these if you feel like you can search for one or both of them, so you can make the same Bujin able to attack twice and attack directly, and if it's 2k attack, then it can double attack for game. This isn't something you should necessarily rely on, but it is something that's at least worth knowing about if a deck comes around that makes us need something like this. The decisions you make when it comes to the Bujingis you set up during your combo is going to take up the majority of the brain work when it comes to this deck. So really think about which Bujingis you are setting up and in what order you set them up. So I'm not going to say that Order of Chaos is mandatory for this deck, but you're definitely missing out on a lot if you don't play it. The main thing about this skill is that if you can summon Utopia, the skill will give you the rank up magic to turn it into Leo Ray, which equips Tornado Bringer to himself from the deck to become untargetable. And while equipped, he's a targeting monster negate that also cuts the target's attack in half. This is probably the best interruption any rank 4 deck can ask for, and if you're a rank 4 deck that doesn't have any other skills to use, then you probably should be looking into this. The skill also gives you a bonus normal summon of V Salamander if you shuffle a card card from your hand back into the deck, unless you put a Utopia right into the grave to be revived right away with the V Salamander's effect. Bonus normal summon that gives you the Utopia on the field right away to get your Leo Ray out quickly is either going to bait out your opponent's interruptions, or it's going to help protect the rest of your plays from interruptions. So really, either way, you're getting benefits from this. And even if you don't have V Salamander, you could just summon Utopia the old-fashioned way and get Leo Ray out that way. There is a bit more to know about the skill than that, but if you don't know much about the skill, then I'd say check out this video right here and you'll learn everything you need to know. There are a lot of options you can take when building your Bujin deck. I'm going to let you know what you have to know before you build yours, if you don't like the deck list that I personally prefer. Strictly speaking, there are mandatory cards that you have to play in the deck if you're going to play Bujins at all. Of course, for consistency, you got to play 3 Torafune, 3 Mahitotsu, and 3 Tenki to search for them, and then there's 1 Hare and 1 Turtle for protection, 1 Krillin and 1 Centipede for removal, and then 1 Sinew and 1 Crane for battle tricks. This deck really needs all of these Bujingis to function. This deck is like a Swiss army knife, so you got to have all of its utility. When it comes to the extra deck, you got to play 2 Susanoo, because you're going to be able to use it twice every game. You may use 2 on the same turn, and you may use a second copy on your follow-up turn to search for whatever you need to break the opponent's board and win the game. Amaterasu, you only need to use it once. However, all the same, it is good to play 2 Haruko, because you may actually end up using the second one to actually turn the Amaterasu into a second Susanoo or into a Kagutsuchi. I know it's funny, but when it is available, that play can come up. Because of how good Ahashima is, I believe that if you don't play it, you aren't playing optimally. However, if at some point you feel the extra deck space is just far too tight, I would tell you to cut Ahashima before I would tell you to cut the second Susanoo. So these are the things that are really non-negotiable. From here, you can do what you want based on your preference. If you want to play the Order of Chaos skill, you got to play 3 V Salamander to have the best odds of drawing into it, 1 copy of Utopia himself, as well as a copy of Leo Ray himself, 1 copy of Tornado Bringer to equip it from the deck to the Leo Ray, and 1 limited Barion's Force to set it directly from the deck with the skill. That said, however, if you don't want to play Order of Chaos, there is another skill that can help you play through some interruptions, and that is Destiny Draw MST. You just throw 1 copy of MST into your deck so that if your opponent sets 3 back row, then you can top deck this on your first turn and get rid of one of them, so you can only have to play through 2 back row. This will also make your deck a bit shorter than if you were to just play the Order of Chaos package, but the Order of Chaos package is better in general at helping you get through interruptions. You could stop the deck building here as a 24 card Utopia version or a 20 card MST version. However, the deck has so much consistency that even if you add cards until you get to 30 cards, you'll still most likely be getting your plays off. It is also worth noting that generally speaking, the more of the Bujingis you have in your hand, the worse your hand is, since you would prefer your hand to be playmakers, so decreasing your odds of drawing the Bujingis by increasing the deck size is a valid strategy, but of course this is your decision to make. As formats change, there may be contexts within that format that might actually make you want to change up your deck a bit to better combat the format, and one of the ways this deck can do this is with its Bujingi selection. If you feel like any of the Bujingi are not putting in work for you, then you could take them out, and when you feel like you need them again, you can put them back in. On the other end of the spectrum, if you feel like you need a Bujingi way more than any of the other Bujingi, then you can increase the amount that you play, so of course you can use it multiple times with ease. A good example of this is that the format where this video is being made, it has a lot of targeting effects going around, so we may actually like to put 2 turtles into the grave because its negate isn't actually a hard once per turn. This is the version I play. I have 3 copies of Effect Veil in here to help us when we are going second against the best decks in the game. If we go first, we could summon Abyss Dweller too. For certain matchups, the fact that Abyss Dweller can turn off the opponent's graveyard may actually be better than Leo Ray's monster negate. I've also got Fox in here to send in case I think my opponent may be able to kill me, and it's the only thing I can do to give myself another turn. It's like an automatic survival button if you can get it into the grave and keep a Bujin in hand to discard. And I've got another copy of Arasuda here as a bonus extender. Bujin deck lists change a lot though, so be sure to join the Team 6K community Discord, link in description, to talk with the Bujin experts in the Bujin channel. If you want to talk to the ultimate Bujin expert, his name is Requiem64, so definitely be sure to ask him if you have any questions. Feel free to build your deck the way you prefer, as there really is a lot of options for this deck. This is just what I prefer to play, and at the end of the day, I'm not here to tell you how to build your deck, I'm just here to show you how to play it. So let's just get into the replays, shall we? So both of these replays though, I'm actually going second, because throughout the whole explanation, I'm pretty much showing you everything you can do going first, you know what I mean? Setting up a turtle and a hare in your graveyard, maybe summoning a Leo Ray, summoning an Abyss Dweller, you know what I mean? Always gonna be going for that Amaterasu. But I didn't really showcase literally what it looks like to go second because of the fact that I'm going against NPCs. So, you know, that's what I decided I would be showing off in the replays, because I do kind of want the replays to be more than just, you know, me picking a couple of replays. Oh, these are the 2 replays I go. I want the replays to be helpful in explaining the deck to you. So anyway, here they're playing Tenyi. As you know, you guys know how Tenyi works, you know what I mean? If you haven't, then watch the advanced guide. obviously. But yeah, he has a Shatana here, which is going to act as protection for his Link here. He's got a Draco Berserker of the Tenyi for us to play through. We've got a Tenki. Our hand is pretty good. We got Torafune and Mahitotsu. That's a good hand. You know it's an amazing hand if you got both Torafune and Mahitotsu. But we got both Harume and Arasuda here too. If we just had one of them, the Tenki would have searched the other. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to search here for something to discard for my Mahitotsu. I'm going to normal summon this. He's going to Veiler it. If he Veilers it, I'm not going to activate it because obviously it's negated. So I'm going to activate this Mahitotsu, discarding the Haruko. He's going to banish it with the Draco Berserker, so I don't really get to use it. But I get to banish the Haruko to summon the Harume, and then that's going to trigger the Arasuda to summon itself, and I can go into Susanoo. Susanoo is going to detach to search for a Haruko. Haruko can activate to turn my Susanoo into Amaterasu, and Amaterasu is going to be able to resummon the Mahitotsu here. Now that I've resummoned the banished Mahitotsu that he banished, I can banish one to send whatever I need. I send a Killin. Killin is going to be killing his monster here. Bad puns, bad puns. Anyway, go into Bujintai Susanoo. Susanoo is going to detach to send a hair to give me destruction protection, because here's my thought process, right? He's got a Shatana, okay? If I attack with Susanoo, okay, into his Monk of the Tenyi, then he can bring it back with the Shatana. And if he destroys my Susanoo with the destruction, the hair can protect the Amaterasu anyway, so that he can't destroy it. So it's going to be still attacking regardless. But if he, destroys the Susanoo, it will have already attacked anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. However, I did equip the Torafune to my Amaterasu on summon from Grey. Torafune's effect is that he can equip to a Bujin Xyz on summon, and then if it battles a monster, it becomes banished. So even though a monster will have been destroyed, the Shatana won't have anything to revive, so it won't even be able to activate. However, the bonus thing is that if he doesn't destroy the Susanoo, I can actually go for lethal here. So let's show how that happens. Bujingi here is going to protect Amaterasu, that if he tries to destroy it, it's not going to work. And if he does destroy the Susanoo, it will have already attacked, so it's fine. I attack with Susanoo, he's going to bring it back, and he's going to try to destroy Amaterasu. It doesn't work. So now I'm going to attack in with Susanoo, because he can attack multiple times on monsters. That's an amazing effect. So now that's going to actually give me lethal. Either way, I would have been getting an incredible amount of advantage, and he might not have been able to follow up, but hey, that was the lethal play, and I saw it and I took it. Alright, so here I'm going second against somewhat of a mirror match. This is Crystal Chaos. If you haven't seen this, then obviously go and watch Weatherman's guide on it. But it's basically this deck, but instead of focusing on combos, you can focus on being able to search for back row to interrupt that way, which is great. It's got great deck thinning. Deck thinning is deck winning. He's just going to be able to go for an Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray, equipping to make himself untargetable. So this is all I got to play through. I got the Torafune in hand, I got the V Salamander. Okay, let's show off some V Salamander gameplay. Alright, activate the skill, put back the Veiler, activate the skill, put a Utopia Engrave, normal summon as a bonus normal summon my V Salamander. He's got to negate this otherwise, but anyway, that's fine. I just baited it out. I can now regular normal summon my Torafune. Torafune contribute itself to get a Mahitotsu, and I'm making sure, by the way, to summon a Centipede from deck. We'll see why in a second, and I'm going to banish the Torafune to send a Killin. We'll see why in a sec. So yeah, let's go into the Bujintei Susanoo. Susanoo is going to detach that Centipede, search myself the Haruko as always, but now I got both a Centipede and a Killin in the graveyard. I'm going to fire off Centipede, blow, Killin, blow, field cleared. Haruko is going to turn my Susanoo into Amaterasu. Now Amaterasu is going to get back a banished monster, get back my Killin so I can use it again potentially. Summon Harume, rank 4 Xyz, my own Utopia, then use the skill to get me my Baryon Force, rank up into my own Leo Utopia Ray, equip my own Tornado Bringer, and attack in for overwhelming lethal. GG's. The deck's game plan might be simple, but it gives you a lot of options based on what you feel you need in a given situation. But being super consistent, having a really strong guaranteed follow-up play, and being really difficult to interrupt makes this deck one that you really shouldn't be sleeping on. If you're looking to get into Bujins and you want more advice, there is nobody better to talk to than Requiem in the 6K community Discord. Before making this video, I felt like I had a pretty good understanding of this deck. He opened my eyes to so much more information, and I'm sure that he can do the same for you. So be sure to click the link in the description to join the Team 6K Discord today. If you have any other questions about the deck or in general, be sure to leave them in the comments. Let us know which Bujingi you want to keep as a pet. Other than that, guys, if you like the video, then slap like now, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the bell to get notified every time we make a new video. Have yourselves a good one, guys, and I've been Undead from Team 6K, signing out.
Ay. Why they gotta hate on me? I done got me 250,000 views and they still saying they low key. They ain't wanna come work with the kid, but I'm flexing with Zay on beats. How they ask for a spot at the gym, but they leave all the weight on me. I don't ask them to wait on me. They would ask where they gon' be with a song if they wanted the weatherman. I ain't ask them to pay no fees. She was homeless and needed a spot. I ain't ask her to pay no lease. I ain't ask her to say no please. I ain't ask her to make no cheese. Scream fake, but it ain't on me. Got clean so it ain't no streets. Why green if it ain't no keeps? Brought cream so it ain't no beef. My team say it ain't no chief. My demon, they hang on me. They seemingly ain't no peace. I seen him, he ain't no beast. For real.